everybody, let's go ahead and get situated. Today's team meeting is actually the last one of 2024. Right? It's so crazy. So we are already December 10th, right? December 10th. What are you going to do with these next 21 days? Eat, drink, and be merry. Yeah, because remember, we've been talking about for quite some time now being very intentional and paying attention, Steve Sachs. Be very intentional on your last 3 weeks of the year, because what you do today, you reap the rewards later. So when are you working, when are you not working, so on and so forth. So children, kids. Okay. So with that said, let's move on to our quick motivational minute. Steve, read that, please. Can you see from that far?
No, I got old eyes.
Okay.
Motivational meaning. Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing. Judy the elf.
Absolutely. So what does that mean to you?
It's about hope spread.
Oh, okay. What does that mean?
It's about, like, you gotta be optimistic and hopeful and have a little faith, just like George Michael did.
Okay.
And like envision.
All right. Can someone get the hook? Get the hook and send him back to his seat. Chris, what does that mean to you? Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing.
Chris, me?
Yep, Chris, vote.
Seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing. Yeah, that's a great question. So seeing isn't believing. So if I were to break this down, and it's probably not as challenging as I'm making it, but seeing isn't believing. So when I look at a sentence like that, so I could say it like, just because I see it doesn't mean I believe it. Is that right?
But if you believe it's sure. Hold on. So Halo wants to share.
Yeah.
That was a good punch.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sohaila.
Believe is something that you see, other people don't see. Then, so explain that one, remove that one. Believing is seeing, because when you believe, you see something other people, they don't see it, then that's it.
It's almost as acting as if. Right? We have that phrase acting as if. So a lot of times you're like, okay, I'm this, I am that, da da da. Right? But if you act as if you're already where you want to be, then you're going to be where you want to be. Okay. And then it also kind of the connotation of one of the bold laws, if you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. Right? So if you believe that you can be whatever that definition of success is for you, Steve, then all of a sudden you see it, right? Because you believe it. Does that make sense?
It's the same as vision.
Yeah.
The vision board.
Yeah.
You believe it, you put on vision board.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, awesome. Moving on. Remember, we say this every time, right? Remember, it's a new world. Things act differently. Are you selling your expertise? Do you feel that you all have made the shift that you're selling your expertise and selling your value to your current clients and potential clients?
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Praise the Lord.
I'm having dreams about talking about statutory disclosures. It's really
But you are bringing value, right? Because other agents aren't doing that. Remember, this Calabasas office is setting the standards in real estate. Right? But it takes each and every one of you to believe that, right, in yourself and in the office. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Hallelujah. What shifts and adjustments have you made? Right? So we've been talking about this. How clear are you on your business plan for 2025? Right? Do you need further clarity? What adjustments are you making? Did you actually go in and look at how you develop your business? Right? Oh, Christy. So what shifts and adjustments have you made? Did you reflect? Right? Do you know what's working, what's not working?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, we'll continue to remind you of this. Because you know what? What do you hear me say all the time, every day? Action is the only truth, right? The path to success is to take massive, determined action. So are you taking the action that is necessary to accomplish your goals, right? Regardless of what area of your life that you are focusing on, because all the stuff that we talk about here about real estate, and your business, and so on and so forth, is applicable to every area in your life. Do you agree?
Yes.
Fabulous. They agree, Chris. Woo!
Yahoo!
And with that said, our broker, Chris Bowe, welcome back to
Howdy. Oh, I've been
being
here.
outside
I've
of the
been
bed.
here. Yeah, so some of you may know that we had to cancel a couple of training sessions last week, and if I still sound a little kinky in my voice, it's because my voice is kinky, but I feel really well. So kind of a funny thing, I did what every normal person would do. Got a little sick, laid low for a couple of days, still signed documents and checked emails, and lost my voice for a few days. That's the biggest reason we canceled last week. I felt crappy, but and by the way, thank you for many of you who reached out to me to just check on me as a human. I really, really appreciate that. But I did what any normal person would do after a few days, right? What do you think a normal person do after they're sick for a few days and they're not necessarily getting better? What would you do?
Go for a long run. Yeah.
Well, that's what an abnormal person would do, and that's what I used to do in the old days. But I decided, go to the doctor. So they ran all these tests, they did all these asked all these questions, so on and so forth. Couldn't figure out what was going on. And right before I left the doctor's office, they said, "Let me ask you one last question." And I said, "Okay, what's that?" And they said, "Have you by chance been hanging around with residential real estate agents?" No, I didn't go to the doctor. I'm good. And that was a joke. Really bad, I know. So a couple things. Steph, obviously I didn't know what Steph was going to say today because I didn't get the opening quote so well. So I apologize. I'll try to be on my A game next time. But when you got going, or when I caught on, there's that word that you use, the A word, action. And Jim Rohn, who many of you have heard me reference in my time with you, particularly those who were at the business planning clinic a few Fridays ago now. And it's this: affirmation without action is delusion. So whatever that quote is that Stephanie has about action being aligned with truth is I agree with that 100%. So affirmation without action is delusion. Right? So I think it's great to affirm positive things and think positively and all that good stuff. And in the absence of action, we are deluding ourselves. Okay. And so, by the way, that segues real nicely into the climate that we're in our business. If I were to walk into a room of real estate agents, let's say there were 1,000 in the room, and I asked this simple question: how many of you are real estate professionals? How many hands out of 1,000 do you think would go up generally? Probably a really high number. But interestingly, and somebody said something about statutory this or that or the other thing, and that was like music to my ears. But interestingly enough, many of those people who would say, yes, I'm a highly qualified real estate professional, are actually deluding themselves. And the reason I would say that, every day that passes, I become more and more and more and more convicted about this. And that is, our industry is fundamentally lacking in the basics and in fundamentals of the contracts, disclosures, and everything else. And while it might seem boring, when we really look at our value proposition, without question, The last 4 months plus or minus that we've been through in this industry change, with the severing of commission in the multiple listing service, has really tested the concepts of what the business, what agents in the business already knew or didn't know. And the reason I know that is because the questions that I'm getting from transaction coordinators, questions from you when you call, when an agent, for example, tells you you need a new SPBB after they've ratified the contract. Just a lot of fundamental things that are wrong. So the notion that our industry is highly professional, and by the way, I'm not running for a popularity contest, because if I were, I'd lose miserably. But it's just not true. We have 430,000 plus or minus real estate agents in California running loose and wild and free. And it's really sad because we've gone through these changes, and oh, by the way, January 1st, we're going to go through some more. So what I'm going to encourage everyone to do, or continue to do, for those who are professionals in the room, because I know we have a lot of them, right, is continue to dig deep. Because when the calendar turns the page on January 1st, if, for example, an agent doesn't get a buyer broker agreement signed, at some point, they won't be just violating the terms of a settlement, they'll be violating California law. So the next 2 days from 1 to 2:30, I'll be doing a Zoom on form updates, new laws, so on and so forth. And we're going to talk not extensively about AB 2992, we're going to just call it the buyer broker law, that pretty much every agent in the world is going to have to know and get a buyer broker signed, even if they're not a member of an MLS. But the land of confusion and non-clarity that our industry has had around the changes is only going to get worse. Because for those of us in the room, we are still going to have the terms of the settlement that we're supposed to comply with. And by the way, the terms of the settlement say residential real estate professional 1 to 4, or excuse me, on a residential deal 1 to 4 units, when are we supposed to get a representation agreement and compensation agreement signed?
Before we show them property.
Before we show them property. Thank you, Linda.
You're
Now,
welcome.
guess what? On January 1st, that does not, and I repeat, that does not go away. Now, it took the DRE and CAR a long time to ultimately fess up to that fact. Okay? So the new law will say that a buyer or an agent must get a buyer broker agreement signed as soon as practicable. That's what the law is going to say. The terms of the settlement don't change. We're still supposed to get prior to showing. So just knowing things like that ongoing, because that's going to help you bring more clarity to the real estate consumer. You're going to have consumers say to you, but the law doesn't say that. And they're going to be absolutely correct. The law doesn't say you're supposed to get an agreement signed prior to showing property. And the settlement does. Bum, bum, bum. Isn't that exciting? And by the way, if you're in a commercial agent, which none of this is applied to, guess what? The law will apply to you now. It applies to every status of situation that we're going to deal with, just about, with the exception of landlord-tenant is still going to be carved out. There's a couple of other classes that we don't deal with, but everybody else will be under the law. So, if you're dealing with landlord tenants, right, we need to know the difference between putting a lease together and what property management is, because we're not covered with property management. So we need to get really comfortable at knowing what we know and knowing what we don't know. And I believe that 2025 is going to be even more unique than this year, because the market that we have isn't going to improve overnight. We're not going to suddenly get, oh my gosh, unit count is doubled. That's not going to happen. I could be wrong. We're recording this, so we'll see. We'll watch this next year and see if I was right or wrong. We're not going to get some massive run up in unit count. So for all of us, because I'm a practitioner too, and Stephanie used the word intentional, we need to be more intentional about reaching out to our people. We need to be more intentional about not just saying we're a highly qualified real estate professional, but actually knowing that we're a highly qualified real estate professional, because we know what we know and we know what we don't know. And when we know we don't know something, we either get the answer by asking somebody who does know, or we refer that person to their legal counsel, to their landlord attorney representative, landlord tenant attorney, their CPA, the escrow officer, whatever the case may be. And by the way, you're going to hear me continue to say this because I've been on the phone, even though I was sick last week, I still I had many conversations in text and email because I literally couldn't talk for about 2 days. But then I struggled through a couple conversations because what came up was, once again, the escrow company told me, the escrow company didn't. And I'm going to remind you in 2025, just as I reminded you in 2024, it's not the escrow company's job to do many of the things that they've been doing. So we can't go into, well, the escrow company did that. And if you're newer to the business, this is a really good time to learn things like that, because our industry continues to rely on people who don't have the fiduciary to the client. So I'm super excited about 2025 because 2025, by all accounts, is going to take more intentionality, more effort, more discipline, more knowledge, more skill, more talent than maybe any market that we've seen in history. But with that said, the rate of litigation in our business, the rate of claims are going to continue to spiral out of control. So make sure you're taking the time to be an expert at what you do. If you don't know the answer, don't ask your TC, by the way. No offense to TCs. I had a TC email me yesterday asking questions on behalf of an agent. I said, have the agent reach out to me. And I guess I was too scary. And they still to this moment have not. So I had a very nice conversation with the TC, edifying we played the game of telephone. I educated the TC to educate their agent. Isn't that funny? How would that play out in a court of law? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, where did you get that information, Mr. and Mrs. Agent? Well, my TC told me. That's comical, right? So we just need to know this. So, and by the way, we need to know it better than anybody else. Our industry right now is lost. Our industry right now is lost. And when you get on your A game to get more business and get better business, will actually be easier in 2025 than it's ever been. There's going to be less of it, but it's going to require more intentionality, more effort. It's going to be an exciting time ahead. So I look forward to seeing whoever you're going to show up tomorrow and or Thursday, 1 to 2:30. We're not going to go over every new law, by the way. We're going to go over the laws that are going to affect you and us the most. We're going to go over the couple of there's only a handful of new forms. And then there's some key revisions. SPBB is going away, by the way. That's going to cause great confusion because we're already confused as an industry. And now a form that we're confused about as an industry is going away. That's going to confusion upon confusion. It's going to be a gay old time. So that's what the Fred Flintstone songs used to say. So we're going to have a do time, a yabba dabba do time. We'll have a gay old time. That's where that came from. So it's gonna be exhilarating, boys and girls. I'm in this thing, and I probably did get sick because I do overextend myself. I'm an energy guy. I'm like this until I get in a room with people like you, and then I get super fired up because we can make a difference in this world. Our industry is lost. I'm just telling you that right now. We are lost, and it's each and every one of you. When we pick it up, bring your A game, align action with affirmation. Read the contract, read the disclosures, ask questions, and go out there and kick some tail. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about today.
Is there people in here that don't know about the Flintstones?
Yeah, I figured there was some. I don't know whether.
What?
How about Green Acres? Green Acres
Oh
is the
my
place
God.
for me. I performed that in front of an audience of 300. I did it as a point in script practice. I was running a large region for Coldwell Banker. And I was trying to get people to understand how easy it was to memorize and internalize scripts and dialogues. And so I stood on stage and I gave everybody a little handout and we queued up the music to Green Acres and we all sang Green Acres and some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. And many of you are going, oh man, wasn't that the good old days, Green Acres?
Good old days, baby.
So with that said, so right quick, Steph, and then I'm going to shut up.
No, you're fine.
We are going to be, I'm going to talk with Stephanie. We're going to start plugging our dates in for those of you who attended the business planning workshop. I promised you that that we would begin some group marathon coaching at no charge. So I have a questionnaire that I'll be getting out. We'll get our kickoff date. That's going to be awesome too. And by the way, if you want to participate in that, and you're at the business planning clinic, and you don't want to run a marathon, but you want to run a half, your first 5K, your first 10K, the same principles apply. Everyone is welcome. It's going to be awesome, and it'll get you cooking on endorphins. And when we're cooking on endorphins, life is so much better. Trust me. All right, I'm done. Anything else? Anybody want to ask me anything?
Well, I know you're gonna go over leases tomorrow and Thursday, so just so you know, Wednesday and Thursday. We didn't put it on our calendar for Wednesday because of the holiday party and all that kind of stuff, but if you all wanna jump in, tomorrow you can, but
What time?
Is it the same class?
it'll be the same class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and by the way, can I say something? Can I? You guys aren't like super sensitive group, are you?
I think there's a couple in here that are.
Okay, well then plug your ears. But here's the deal. You look, repetition is the key to greatness, and I mean that in all sincerity. I can tell you, I knew the stuff pretty well coming into the world with all of you. And I can tell you right now, if I was an A- coming in, I'm like further down the road because having to tell an agent over, I mean, literally if I was on my deathbed tomorrow, I'd probably be going, paragraph 3G3, it's in paragraph 3G3. I swear to you, a lot of this is just, and then you're going, well, 3G3, what is 3G3? The repetition on this stuff is so critically important because if you're going to explain it, let me say it this way, if you're going to teach somebody about these documents, which by the way, do any of you teach anybody about these documents? Anyone?
Yeah.
Everybody raise your hand. Okay, guess what? How many of you ever met with a buyer or seller or potential buyer or seller? Raise your hand. Do you realize that when you're talking to your client, you're instructing and teaching them about the documents?
Yeah.
So the repetition on this stuff is so critically important. One of the reasons our industry is lost is because they don't want to commit the time to mastery. They don't want to commit the time to the redundancy. They don't want to commit the time to boredom. And that's why we have mess after mess after mess. So I will record both of them. If you can't come to both, don't worry about it. It's going to be a lot of rinse and repeat. But again, what I'm going to talk with you about, it's an incumbent upon a real estate professional to read the forms. And I know that sounds funny, silly, but our industry does not read the documents. So that's why we're lost, by the way. That's why we're lost. So if you can't be at both, that's fine, because again, it's going to be rinse and repeat throughout. Because until we get the concepts down, because the new forms and the new revisions are merely done ultimately in most situations to comply with the statutes and the civil codes in California. Okay, so that's why these things are done. So ultimately what I want you to get are the concepts behind why do we have an LCA, right? Why do we have the form? It's not about which form do I need. It's why do we have that form and what does that form help me achieve? That's ultimately what I want you to get, because if we don't ever get that, we're lost. Okay, so on leases, we're going to talk about some of the changes in the lease agreement. So the good news is many of you do leases. The bad news is many of you do leases. Okay, we got people putting leases together that honestly, we don't know what we're doing. Okay, so we just want to catch everybody up. I was on the phone with one of our attorneys today and I said, we got to figure something out because we're going to have some, because most of these leases, you don't make and we don't make a lot of money on them, do we? But yet we're probably taking on more liability than when you sell that, $2 million mansion, because there's so much liability in landlord tenant law in this state. Okay. So if you're going to do leases, what I'm going to impress upon you and push on you is to actually understand what the documents say. So we're going to go through that. We'll go through that second half. We'll go through the laws. We'll go through some of the changes. There's nothing really revolutionary, but it'll also be a time to reinforce learning for things that we either already know or things that we should already know. And then we'll do Q&A at the end and go from there.
Hey, Chris.
Caroline,
Yeah.
next question.
I was
Yeah.
looking at the new contract or the current, whatever, I don't know if it's new. And I noticed on liquidated damages page, there was no space for initials. Was that a mistake on my document or are they taking out the initials on the liquidated damages page?
On the RPA?
Yeah.
No, that's an audit. I'm not, that's not correct.
Okay.
There is a new form that I'll be talking about tomorrow. And by the way, the new forms are being released a week from today. So when you go into zip forms next week and you open it up, it's gonna, and by the way, if you go in there right now, all the red line, it says right at the top, red line version available. So I'm gonna share the red line versions with you. That's what I'm gonna instruct off of tomorrow, and they're already available to you. But there is now an increased deposit addendum that we'll talk about tomorrow. But no, there should absolutely be an initial on that portion.
If you have a form created in your templates.
Can you come up here?
Oh,
So we make sure we hear you.
I hear him. I'm a
All right,
prophet.
Sam.
I already know what Steve's gonna, is that Steve?
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, Steve, that booming, I wish I had a big booming voice like Steve Sachs. Mine's just, even when I don't have a cold, I sound like I'm going through puberty still. So anyhow, go ahead, Steve.
Well, Chris, I was curious, if you have a template in your save and
Yeah.
car form changes, do the templates automatically get updated?
Mine don't. So actually you read my mind because that's on my notes for tomorrow. So by the way, what I would recommend you do, at least for the first month or two of the new revisions, I actually keep a version of maybe not every form, but especially went through I wanted to know what the co-op language was in the old listing agreement, for example. So when it went away, I still had a copy of that language if I needed to use it for something. So yes, you do need to, the only way I've been able to figure out how to do it is to actually delete it out or just create a new folder, a new template. And then just name it and, what I do is I just do a naming convention around the form release time.
Thanks, Chris.
You bet. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Maybe we could be let's see, I could be the alto. Is that what I would be? And then Steve would be the baritone. Is that right? I don't know. I'm not on cold medicine or anything. I'm just delirious, but it is great to see y'all. I'm a 7-year-old grandpa today. My first grandbaby was born, little Rosie Newton Goins was born 7 years ago today. And we're doing a 7-year-old dinner celebration tonight. Isn't that exciting?
Super exciting.
Congratulations.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I just wanted to add, I don't think anybody, hold on, let me make sure there's no. Okay. All right, cool. So. You know me, I always bring up football analogies, right? When Chris was talking about rinse and repeat, and all that good stuff, right? How many times do you guys go over? So in the NFL, you all know I love football. How many times do you think they practice the play and run the play?
Hundreds.
Hundreds of times. Like, I don't even know what the exact,
They still screw it up.
I think so. Yeah.
It only needs one.
Yes, but, yeah, don't even get it started, okay. But yeah, they run it all the time, they practice their trade every single day. They look at it on the X's and O's, right? They run it the whole bit. How many times are you all doing the same thing?
Hundreds.
Right? How many times, when's the last time you looked at your scripts? Right? That is the first income producing activity, is knowing your scripts. Cause you're like, oh, I got this handled. Do you? Is your script working or is it not working? Cause everyone has a script, but are you using the right one? Right? Do you have the listing presentation down, your buyer consultation down? How serious are you taking your business? Right? And I'm here to inspire, not to lecture, right? And that's why we say these things over and over and over again. And that's why, like, a lot of times Chris brings up, okay, we have Mike Ferry, we have Tom Ferry, we have Barbara, what's her name? Barbara Corcoran, we have, who's the referral guy? That guy, you know, there's all these different coaches. We have math coach. I mean, there's coaching all the time about the basic shizzle that no one wants to do to get where they want to be. Right? So that's why we always talk about, what's your big why? Well, Stephanie, it's because I want to make $1 million. Do you? Or is it 500? What is it that you want to make? And I'm talking to myself too, right? Because we all have our things that we want to bypass a little bit. Oh, I can get to where I want to be by skirting maybe that or this or the other thing, right? But think of yourself as that professional athlete, right? How serious are you taking your business? And do you really know what you want? Right? I have some things that I'm going to go through here in just a minute, but we'll go through some more announcements. But I really just challenge each and every one of you, because I want nothing more, and Chris and the staff, and I know each and every one of you, you want nothing more than, I want nothing more than Roger and Linda and even you, Steve, right? Right? I want you all to get where you want to be, right? But it takes that commitment, it takes that sacrifice, it takes that mindset. So that's why we always bring up these different things, because we never know if you are gonna sit here and hear something for the 10th time, but it may sound like the first time you've ever heard it. It may just be some little thing that triggers you to take action. Does that make sense? Okay, so we'll go on. What color are my nails?
Hey, Steph, I said I was shut up, but I changed my mind.
Yes, go ahead.
So there's a word that comes up that most of us don't like, and the word's disciplined. And what I want to say, and I learned this, so anything that I've been successful in my life took a certain level of discipline. And what I ultimately realized is this: you don't have to be disciplined all day, and you don't have to be disciplined every day. So if it's learning your contracts, if it's generating more leads, if it's having better presentations, if it's overcoming objections, whatever it is, you only have to carve out the time, not all day. You can if you choose to, but you don't have to do it every day, and you don't have to do it all day. You just have to be disciplined long enough to effectuate momentum that will effectuate a difference in your business and your life. So now I'll shut up unless you say something else that inspires me.
Yeah, I'm sure I will be. So, instead of going now, we'll just go ahead and flow through this, and then we'll make the announcements toward the end. But really, if you, no matter what industry that you're in, like I said, whether you're professional sports or your insurance or your real estate or you sell widgets or whatever, right? Everything is mindset. Everything is always mindset. Like, I don't know. It was so funny. I'll go back a few years, right? When the Lakers, I lived in Northern California, I was a massive Sacramento Kings fan,
Boo,
right?
boo.
I hate the Lakers still. I've been here for 22 years now. I don't like the Lakers. I'll never like the Lakers. I'll go watch the Lakers and I'm cheering against them, right? But anyway, it was a huge rivalry, right? So we had Rick Fox and Shaquille, all those guys were playing against the Kings, and it was just this massive thing. But what was always fun to me is watching Rick Fox. He knew the people on the Sacramento Kings who he could get in their head. He messed with them at such a high level because he knew some people would take the bait. Right? They would take the bait. So that's where your mindset has to be strong, right? Where are you taking the bait in your mindset, right? From even your own self-talk. Or let's say you hear someone say something and then you attach to that, right? Like, oh God, that must be true because they said it, right? So where are you taking the bait? Everything is about mindset, no matter where what industry you're in, what area in your life, right? Like I have, I'm working through some mindset of my own, right? On a certain event that's happening in July, right? Right, so July 2025, right? So there's things, we all have to work on certain things and be conscientious of it, be aware of it, and just embrace everything. So be conscientious of who's robbing your mindset and your belief, like we talked about at the very beginning. Believing is seeing. If you believe it, you get to see it, right? So, and understand, so I went to I went to this event on Sunday, and this guy was super, super inspiring. Those of you that were on Mindset this morning, I shared some of it. So I wanted to share some of it with you because a lot of times you just never know if that one little thing that you hear. And the reason why we're talking about mindset and inspiration and motivation, all that kind of stuff, is we're going through the holidays, right? We're getting super excited for 2025, so on and so forth, but it's all a mindset. Right? Are there certain things, how are you going to view these next 3 weeks in the beginning of the new year? So really, again, we want, each and every one of us wants each other's success at a high level, whatever that definition of success is. We're all at different stages in our lives. We have different definitions of success. So what is your wealth mindset, right? What is that wealth mindset, right? Wealthy people believe I create my life. I create my life. Do you believe that? Is that what you believe? I create my life. People that struggle with wealth, poor people or what, less fortunate, whatever, life happens to me. Right? So there's different viewpoints, different mindsets about how we are seeing our life. Are we playing the victim, right? Are we blaming? Are we justifying? Are we complaining? And it may not be in every area of your life, right? But we have to be very mindful about how we're thinking, right? The next one is wealthy people play the money game to win, right? Non-wealthy people play the money game to not lose. And one of the things I have, and it's a different shift, right? Am I playing to win or am I playing not to lose? Like, I don't want to lose this game, or I don't want to lose this listing appointment. I don't want to lose this buyer deal, right? There's a difference. I heard this quote before, right? The game not to lose from one of the coaches, football coach. I actually have it. It was interesting because I have it written probably for the last year and a half or so on one of my whiteboards. Don't play to win, don't play to not lose, right? It's a shift. So it's something to think about. The next one is, wealthy people are committed to being wealthy. Right? And again, remember, we all have our different definition. There's no judgment, no anything, but they're committed. Are you committed to your goals, to your financial goals? And then the difference too with if people are struggling or poor, I'll just say how he has it here. Poor people want to be rich. Right? If we want something, or if we say we want it, we need it, that is coming from a place of lack. Everything is about commitment, and like what Chris said, discipline. So what are you committed to? Wealthy people think big, right? We think big. Get outside. Remember, growth happens outside of your comfort zone, right? So think big. Have it scare you a little bit, right? Have it scare you a little bit. The other side of the factor is they think small. So where are you on that that range. We've heard this a million times by different speakers, so on and so forth, the law of income. You will be paid in direct proportion to the value. And we've heard it, and the number of people you deliver and share that with. Right? So what is your value? I really want you all, before the beginning of the year, to really be clear on the value that you bring to your clients. Okay, be clear on that, because you all are unique, authentic, unbelievable people. And everyone is waiting for you to help them. Does that make sense? So go find the people that are looking for you, because they are. Rich people admire other rich and successful people, right? Are you intimidated by them or resentful, or are you like, I want to learn from them? Because remember, success leaves clues. There's so many biographies out there, you know, or documentaries, different things that you can read, you can watch, so on and so forth. Who are you hanging around? Right? That is a huge factor, right? Because remember, I remember growing up, my mom would be like, be careful who your friends are, right? Right? So if you're hanging out with people that are getting in trouble, you're gonna be getting in trouble. I learned that one. Right? It's like, okay, mom, I guess you are right. Huh? I know. I know. Right back at you. And then, you know, it's just like, what is your approach on that? So wealthy people associate with positive and successful people. Other people hang around with negative. I mean, how, you know, what's so crazy to me is how being positive and optimistic, all that kind of stuff, and it should be more contagious than negativity.
Takes a lot less energy to be positive.
Right? And it's so crazy how negativity can just be so toxic and just cancerous and consuming. That's why we are very careful about the people that we bring in here. Right? Because if we bring in one person who's just like negative Nancy, me, right? Or Ned, you know, is that a name anymore? I don't know.
Yes.
But you know what I'm saying? It permeates. It's so crazy. And sometimes you don't even know it. You get sucked into the shadizzle. So just make sure that you are associating with the positive, successful people. And let's see, where are we? Okay. Oh, this one I like. So.
Hey, Steph, I know
Oh,
I
yeah.
promised to, did I promise to shut up? Well, if I
No,
did,
let me interject and quote it.
I apologize. So I'm gonna give you a little quote. It's out of the book of Proverbs, and here's what it says. He or she who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers much harm.
Yeah.
So I want you, what I'd like you to add into these words as you're talking about, I'm not telling you what to do, by the way, but have the group think about, is this word wisdom? It's a word that doesn't get used a lot much anymore. And I think partly because we might lack for it in our culture and our world, but there's a difference between intelligence, smarts, and wisdom. So he or she who walks with a wise grows wise, and a companion of fools suffers much harm.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna jump off now. I'll
Okay.
see y'all tomorrow. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Now I promise I'm not gonna say anything else.
Oh, you're so nice.
Have
All right,
a
see you
great
later.
have a great day, everyone. Bye.
All right.
Susie, I'm gonna call you in a little bit.
Yeah, you can't talk to him until after the team meeting, Susie.
Oh no, I won't. I won't call till after.
I'm just kidding. Okay, but really the purpose of the one thing that I was getting from this gentleman who was sharing some of these things was really it's sharing with everyone that you are worthy. I mean, we all have our winters, we have our summers, we have our springs, and you know, is there no fall, right? Right? But in life. So there's a lot of times where, you know, at least for myself, I've gone through a thing where I'm just, you know, feeling not worthy, right? But it's a matter of we all, that's why we have each other, we have people, and we have these quotes, and we have people that help motivate, so on and so forth. But the base of all these wealth files, as he was calling it, is sharing that you are worthy of whatever it is that you want. So wealthy people are excellent receivers. right? You always hear me talk about being open to receive, be open to receive all the greatness that is out there for you. Sometimes we block it, we're just, and it may not come in how we think it's supposed to be packaged. Right? So you be an excellent receiver, you can be an excellent giver, but also be an excellent receiver, right? So you are worthy. So wealthy people also choose to get paid on results, right? You all get paid on the results of your efforts, correct?
Yep.
Yes. Right?
Yep.
Other people get paid on time. Right? And it's okay. We all have, there's always a starting point for everybody, right? But you get paid on your results. Right? Wealthy people think both versus either or. Right? It can always be a win-win. You can figure out a way, because I truly believe that you can have it all. I truly believe that. Right? And it's taken me some time to get there. Right? Like, hey, why not? Right? Why not? Why can't I make this happen or that happen or so on and so forth? So you can think both. Wealthy people focus on their net worth. Others focus on their income. Right? That's kind of a cool one. Right? So net worth, income, savings, investment, simplification. Remember, where attention goes, energy flows and results show. Right? What we talk about all the time, what you focus on expands. What are you focusing on? Right? What are you focusing on? So, wealthy people manage their money well. Wealthy people have their money work hard for them instead of working hard for their money. Wealthy people act in spite of their fear. Right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Susan Jeffers. Feel the fear and do it anyway, instead of letting fear stop them. And we're all guilty of that. Well, okay, I am. Like where I get scared, I'm just like, I find another way. That sounds a little terrifying, right? But you act in spite of it. Wealthy people constantly learn and grow. The other side of the fence, they think they already know. And I say that. Thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to action, and action leads to results. AKA, action is the only truth. See how I tied that up in a nice little bow? Yeah, I love when that happens. Okay, so into the story, you know I love you all, and I want what you want. Right? So we're here to support, huh?
Aston Martin.
I don't want that. No, it's about me. Okay. That's pretty cool. I would totally do that. Okay, cool. So we go, oh, I didn't even talk about that. Okay, who all is coming tomorrow night? Woo! I'm so excited. So it's our naughty or nice. If you haven't RSVP'd, please do so. I reached out to a bunch of people yesterday and I am RSVPing for them. Naughty, let's see, wait, let me put that up. If you are feeling a little naughty, have red on you somewhere. I think everyone's gonna be in red.
I think it's a red party.
That's why I should have done that.
At night.
Yeah, you can have you can, and then if you're want to be portrayed as just nice, which I know no one in here is, I didn't mean it that way. You know what I mean, right? Because you all are nice. You all are nice. You wear green, actually evergreen. Okay. Mark, what do you wear?
Either.
You're coming in your birthday suit.
I'm gray.
I love it. So make sure it starts at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock it's in. For those of you that were with us last year, you know exactly where it's at. We have the DJ, we have drinks, we have food, we have a photo booth, basically the same setup, raw or, what do you call her?
Fortune teller.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so she's gonna be there, and just to let y'all know, when you went in, for those of you that are, but anyway, It's just 10 minutes. No one can take a flipping hour.
I
Okay?
was in there more than 5 minutes.
Anyway,
I got 3 kids in that amount of time.
so yeah, make sure that you sign up. We have a lot of people that have already signed up. The tarot readings start at 6:30 in 10-minute increments to 9:30. Okay, yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome.
So super excited to see everybody. So we get to.
The Lord our God does not work any false prophets telling us that.
Oh, stop.
You can take my time.
Awesome. So welcome to our KWC family. Ross, Victoria, Yurit, Sonia, John. Woo! Welcome, welcome. So excited. And First Pacific Escrow, remember, Calabasas Escrow. We're going away. We have Debbie and Ashley. Can't be any more excited to have Debbie and Ashley with us again. They were gone for a bit, oh, actually 2.5 years. 2.5 years. So make sure that you reach out to them. They're flipping ass amazing and just, I can't even tell you. So, okay, y'all. Okay, we're having an ethics course. It'll be the next slide. Go in and check to see, all of you should have done this already, but go to that website, check to see if you need your code of ethics training by the end of this year. If you need it and you don't do it, your shit's gonna be disabled. Okay?
Stephanie, I'm gonna keep having people ask me where to find the go to RAR.
Google.
There's a link and you can go to NAR. It'll take you right to it, do your course, and then that will report back.
You don't even need to do your work. This guy will just give it to you.
Yeah, so we're having, because some people just don't want to do it. So there's all different ways. My whole point is do it, right? But I can't figure out if you have it or not, because it's a different number, so on and so forth. People are saying, hey, can you find out for me? No, take responsibility for your license and figure it out. Sorry. So, I love you all. Okay. So, yeah, it's called Google. I don't know. And then you all got even notices from NAR and the board that gave you all these links too, if you don't have it. Okay, so Layla, I'm super appreciative. The instructor that comes his name is actually Beef Wellington, which, yes, it's Beef Wellington. It's through Compass, Career Compass, right? It's free. Just come here and hang out. Layla's bringing food. When you're done with an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, y'all get a certificate that you can turn in, right? And he's teaching. It's very entertaining and fun. So if you haven't figured it out, just come next the 17th. So is it next Tuesday?
Yeah, at 11.
Yeah, next Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Do it.
Stephanie, the Conejo board has it, those are members of Conejo every month.
Yeah, I'm sure all the boards do, and there's links and everything. So it's just a matter of one, checking to make sure if you need it or not, right? And then two, if you need it, you can do it online. You can come to our office, whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, happy birthday to all these people. Happy birthday, December babies. So that means your mommy and daddy were doing a little, 9 months before that. What's that? March? Was that totally inappropriate? I don't know.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day. Oh, look at you all. Check it. Oh, no, okay, never mind. I'm like calculating. And then our anniversaries. Alon, Sheeta, Christine, Jeanette, Ashley, Maria, Nick, Krikor, Melina, Angie. Happy anniversary. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate each and every one of you. Congrats to our closed over 2 million in November. No, that's right. Doug Pittsgrove, Hirsch and Jared, Jordan, Steve Sachs, Galoo's Group, and Zach King. Congrats, congrats. And then everyone that closed, we had another great month in November. Adam Commercial Group, Akash and his gang, Galooz, Carrie, Christine, Daniel, Team Selleck, Denise Marks, Doug Pitts, Eileen, Aaron, Hirsch, and Jared, Jasmine, Jordan, Kurt, right? Larry, Lee, Lester, Lisa, Lynette, Monique, Nicole, Omid, Samantha, Susie, Terwin, and Zach King. Woo! Couldn't do it without each and every one of you. So I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart. We have our lovely Louisa.
That is not enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Person that's wearing it is ugly.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. Okay.
What did you say?
There you go.
Just now.
Go, go, go.
Okay, good morning. So no PC announcement, but if you guys have heard of James Shaw is the founder of Pivot Shift Ahead. It is on Facebook. It is an amazing group, but and he's been with Keller Williams since 2005. And then you guys can see that he's been an agent, a team leader, regional leader, OP, bold coach, and MAPS coach. So the reason why we're bringing him up is that because if you guys haven't done your business planning, James is actually doing a free Zoom business planning, and the link is right there, and it's on Thursday, 9 a.m. our time. So usually he charges for this. So it is from 9 a.m. to 11 o'clock. So if you guys missed our own business planning, or if you guys want to do more business planning, then go ahead and go to the link and RSVP. If you guys RSVP and attend, then everything that he gives out, any documents will be emailed back to you guys. And that's it. Okay, I'm gonna go jingle all the way back.
Yay! Thank you, Miss Louisa. Okay, thank you again to our amazing ALC, Eileen, Roger, Linda, Louisa, Alan, Jasmine, Sanaz. She's like, what? Okay. So don't forget, we have to advance and line up who wore the ugly sweaters. Actually, whatever. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. So tomorrow night, holiday party, broker training with Chris, 1 o'clock. So that's the main shidizzle for this week. And our 2025 calendar will definitely be out before the end of the year. I already gave you my moment.